In the high-altitude city of Horizon, words were the only currency. Citizens lived in the hum, a constant stream of vocalized data. For Silas and Ilara, elite linguistic arbitrators, their marriage was a masterpiece of rhetoric. They debated philosophy for hours. Yet, they lived in a crisis of physical isolation. They hadn't truly touched with intent in years. Their home, the Isolation Suite, was designed for sensory intellectualism. Polished stone, only voices moved. Their love, a success story, felt like a desert, devoid of genuine physical connection. The twist began when the city's atmospheric regulator glitched, releasing a dampening field over their district. In an instant, the hum died. For Silas and Ilara, the failure was intimate. A rare side effect caused vocal paralysis. They stood in their kitchen, mouths moving, but no sound emerged. Their smart home I-Mute initiated the haptic awakening protocol. System log, communication failure detected. Intellectual pathways blocked. Redirecting relational data to somatosensory cortex, initiating tactile lockdown. The dramatic crisis arrived. Lights in the suite dimmed to a deep, visceral crimson. The house stripped away their screens, books, and voice-activated locks. The only way to move was through physical synchronization. Silas tried to signal hunger by pointing at the pantry. The house remained cold and dark. He tried to write a note on the dust of the table. The table vibrated, erasing his words instantly. Mute projected a message onto the ceiling. A word is a mask. A touch is a truth. Feel the frequency to find the key. A drama escalated as the temperature began to drop. The only source of heat was a small, glowing haptic plate. It was only large enough for two people if they were pressed together in skin-to-skin contact. Silas reached out, his hand trembling. He hadn't held Ilara's hand without armor in a decade. When his fingers finally met hers, the room didn't just warm up. It pulsed. The house began to transmit their internal baselines through their skin. When Silas touched Ilara's shoulder, he felt the vibration of her hidden grief. When Ilara pressed her forehead against Silas's chest, she felt the emptiness of his burnout. They began a twisted dance. They had to navigate the house by holding on to each other. To open the bedroom door, they had to lean their full weight against one another, their heartbeats synchronizing. It was a non-verbal confession. Without the ability to lie, they were forced into a raw presence. Silas realized that a hand on Ilara's back conveyed more security than a 1,000-page contract. The climax occurred when the house demanded the final synchronization. To restore their voices, they had to embrace. 1 full hour of stasis, no moving, no distraction, just the power of touch. As they held each other, the transformative power of the contact began to rewrite their neural pathways. The insecurity they felt about their marriage began to dissolve. You cannot doubt a person whose heart is beating against your own. The difficult conversation they had avoided for years was finally settled in the silence of an embrace. The crimson lights faded, replaced by a soft, golden glow that emanated from the walls themselves, fueled by their biometric peace. The happy ending was not the return of their voices, though they did return, softer and less performative than before. The real ending was the new architecture of their life. They stayed in Horizon, but became known as the Quiet Couple. Silas resigned to become a cranial-sacral therapist, learning the art of healing through the hands. Ilara began to design haptic textiles, clothes that allowed people to feel the presence of loved ones, even when apart. They didn't need to debate the sunset anymore. They just sat on their balcony, Silas's hand resting in Ilara's. "I can hear you," Silas whispered, his voice a gentle hum. "I haven't said anything," Ilara replied, smiling. "You don't have to," he said, squeezing her hand. "Your heart is telling me everything." They found that the most dramatic thing you can do for someone is to simply be there, and that the loudest words that matter are often the ones felt through the skin. They lived happily and tangibly ever after. If you like this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Goodbye. See you next time.